70 years ago this month, 138 Australian sailors, lost their lives in the Java Sea defending a convoy from Japanese attack. The final battle, fought by HMAS Yarra, is one of Australia's most tragic naval losses of World War II. Notable for the bravery shown by the crew fighting a battle they simply couldn't win. Now, a West Australian sailor, who is the last surviving crew member from HMAS Yarra, has joined the calls for the heroes from that action to be awarded the Victoria Cross. Mark Bennett reports.
Well, at the moment, I think I'm virtually the only survivor there is from the ship. All the others are gone.
At 91 years old, Reg Matthews is certainly a survivor. Still sharp and alert, his memory of events from 70 years ago has not dimmed with age.
I was probably in Fremantle, I think, when I first heard about it.
The 4th of March 1942, the Japanese Navy was roaming unchallenged through the Java Sea, hunting for Allied convoys and their Navy escorts. In their sights, Reg Matthews' ship, the HMS Yarra. Fortunately for Reg, he had disembarked for shore leave just 2 weeks before the fateful day.
They were escorting a convoy south, quite a slow one. They were actually sighted by a Japanese plane the day before they were attacked. And they, unfortunately, the captain would have had no option at all.
The tiny HMS Yarra was no match for the Japanese firepower, but that didn't deter the crew from taking the attackers head-on.
And of course the captain, who knew he was virtually suiciding when he had to turn the ship towards the Jap fleet, and there was cruisers and destroyers there. To be honest, he never had a hope of any sort. It was certain death, actually.
Only 13 of Yarra's crew survived the action. None of them were officers, and consequently there was no one left to officially record the acts of bravery. 70 years on, Reg Matthews believes it's time to acknowledge their courage and award the Victoria Cross to the commander of HMS Yarra, Robert Rankin, and another hero from that day, leading seaman Ron Taylor.
I think it's just about due. Rankin, I think, as an officer, he did his duty completely when he turned and faced the enemy.
One of the sailors in his description of it said there was 30 shells a minute coming in at us.
Reg Matthews' view is shared by Gary Taylor, a family descendant of Ron Taylor. He remained at his gun post, keeping the Japanese destroyers at bay.
And Ron told his crew, abandoned ship, the order's been abandoned ship, and he stayed. He said, no, I'm not going, I'm staying. And he stayed there at his mount, and he was loading, aiming and firing the gun, which normally takes a crew of 8 to 12 blokes, and that's how he's remembered, because the ship was, the stern was sinking, listing to port, and he's still firing at the gun, and that's how he went down with the ship.
As conveyed to me by several people, Buck Taylor was the captain of the gun. I think it was a gun. That's the forward one, right up forward. He was still firing as the ship was sinking, stuck to the gun. And he was probably doing the job of about 4 people, running the gun himself, and of course he went down with the ship, as many others did.
Buck Taylor and his commander's bravery under fire has not been forgotten. Here on the banks of the Yarra in Melbourne, a memorial service is held for the crew of HMS Yarra every year on the 4th of March.
Rankin, Smith and Buck Taylor and the rest of the crew, they are worthy of our profound respect, of our deepest gratitude and our enduring remembrance.
Now there's a push to review acts of military bravery. An independent tribunal was asked by the government to investigate Ron Taylor and 12 other war heroes, including the commander of HMS Yarra, Robert Rankin, to see if they deserve retrospective awards.
Ron's never been recognised, and we would just like to get some form of recognition that it's not just for Ron, it's for the crew of the HMAS Yarra. There's never ever one mention of the Yarra or what the Yarra did for their country.
But while a sense of fair play drives the calls for recognition, the tribunal is aware that by making awards retrospectively, it runs the risk of debasing the perceived value of the military's highest honour.
I could tell you several stories of people who should have won VCs in the First or Second World Wars and didn't. And you could well finish up with hundreds, possibly even thousands of people who deserve a VC and didn't get it. And I think it's impossible to rectify all of that now.
But there is no doubt in Reg Matthews' mind that the honour should be conferred on Ron Taylor and Robert Rankin for their bravery on that fateful day in the Java Sea.
I would recommend Taylor because he was a fairly pugnacious sort of a character. It was his nature. He probably couldn't go against his own nature. He just kept going. That was, I think, quite an act. The same as any other VC that's been awarded.
The tribunal report will be handed to government later in the year.
Mark Bennett there.